I used to have a radio talk show in Dallas that talked about health issues, and one of the things that I talked about was interviews with various people. And one of the people I interviewed was a woman by the name of Sherry Rogers. She's an MD. She lives in South Florida, but she still sees patients in Syracuse, New York once a month, and then she does consultations on the phone. If you have a problem, you can go to her, and I'm sure she charges a fee, but she'll give you her opinion. She's written 14, 15, 16 books, something like that. And her whole thing is what we're doing to damage ourselves and what drugs are bad and this and that and the other. Her latest book is Your Cardiologist Killing You? One before that is The Cholesterol Hoax. That goes back to trying to make you believe if you eat cholesterol you'll have heart disease. The truth is now that there is no evidence that cholesterol causes heart disease. In fact, I was talking to somebody the other day and said that if my cholesterol is under 200, I'm worried that I'm going to have some mental problems. Because if you don't consume cholesterol, you will have mental problems. It contributes to dementia. I don't know how much it does to Alzheimer's, but I'm sure it contributes to it. Anyway, then she has another book, The High Blood Pressure Hoax. The one before that was Detoxify or Die. She has one called Pain-Free in 6 Weeks on how to get rid of arthritis pain. And one of the things, when we're talking about GMOs, some of the first soy that came out was genetically modified with a petunia plant. Why is that important? Anybody know what a petunia is? It's a nightshade plant. In fact, if you read her book on Pain-Free in 6 Weeks, nightshade plants is probably responsible for a good deal of arthritis. And what are those products? Tomatoes, potatoes, and peppers, and something else. Eggplant, yes. But did you think about soy being a nightshade plant? That's because of the petunia. So
they cause arthritis.
They contribute to arthritis in a lot of people. There's other things. Sometimes it's inflammation. Now, I went to a seminar last year, and I know these guys. I belong to the Ocular Nutrition Society, and our whole thing is trying to eat well to prevent eye diseases. And this guy says, look, you need to prevent inflammation. He says, just go any place to one of these box stores and buy fish oil. It's fine. It's all about the same. No, it's not. Fish oil has to do with where it was collected. The good fish oil is caught cold, taken in cold, processed cold, packaged cold, sealed, and then sent to the United States. Most of the stuff that comes out of the box stores was caught someplace. Now, maybe in the wintertime it was a little more chilly than in the summer, but a lot of it's in summer. Where does that go? It goes in a 55-gallon drum or a 270-gallon tote. It sets on a dock. It sets on a ship. It sets on a dock, a truck, and a warehouse. And eventually, within a few weeks or months, they process it. And you look at the label and it says, pharmaceutical grade. All that means is you won't die from taking it. I stumbled across this a number of years ago. My nieces had some problems, one in particular. She'd go into depression. It was really weird and not good, obviously. At any rate, my sister had heard about a boy up in Michigan that was taking fish oil. And he was taking 20 to 25 a day. But he was getting a therapeutic dose. But you think about it. I don't care how cheap it is. You're taking 20 to 25 a day. One, you're going to burp to where there's no end. But look at the money. So I went about and found a quality fish oil and gave it to my niece. One a day took care of the depression problem. And so where do you find that? Well, pretty much health food stores. And I have no stake in Carlson, but Carlson's a well-known company, and Carlson has quality stuff, whether it's cod liver oil or whether it's vitamin D3 or whether it's salmon oil. So there are places to get quality, and it also, incidentally, you won't work with it because the quality stuff doesn't cause that. I don't want to get too far off the GMO part, right? Outside the big four, as far as GMO, you've got papaya from Hawaii, and some zucchini, some crooked neck squash. Most corn, except popcorn, is genetically engineered. And now the latest will be, they approved the sugar beets, but the sugar beets were Roundup ready, and they wouldn't let them market it, but now they've released it. So if you do want to consume sugar, at least make sure it's pure cane sugar, because if it doesn't say pure cane, it probably has sugar beets in it. And then alfalfa will be the next one. You go, well, I don't eat alfalfa. Well, yeah, you do, because it's fed to animals, and that's part of the system. So, again, you want to stay away from that. I'm not going to touch the BT problem because Jeff took care of that one this morning. And it has its own set of problems, whether it's natural or not natural. Here's the thing that I found about GM soy and allergic reactions. Soy allergies skyrocketed by 50% in the United Kingdom soon after GM soy was introduced. Then they're talking about skin pricks and stuff like that in terms of finding it out. Cooked GMO soy contains as much as 7 times the amount of known soy allergen. I mean, it's way up there. And soy also contains, again, undetected or unknowledgeable about as far as allergens today, versus the natural. Oh, and incidentally, just to, we're told that soy is wonderful. The truth of it is soy is terrible. You should never eat anything to do with soy. And they go, well, the Asians have eaten it for hundreds of years. No, they never did. They ate fermented soy. And the fermentation process killed the chemicals that are unhealthy in the soy. They never ate soy. Never. So the point being is, if you want some soy product, make sure it's organic, number one, and make sure it's been fermented. Otherwise, soy is terrible. How many of you drink orange juice in a container? Soy's in it. You ever notice it in the label? Soy lectin. You know what it's there for? Keeps the pulp from settling out so much. It's not there for your nutrition. Soy in particular, I guess, basically we're picking on that one, but it drastically reduces the digestive enzymes in mice, but it's got to be the same thing with people too. And of course, one of the problems with people, how many times have you ever gone to a doctor, or you had friends or family that went to a doctor, and the doctor said, well, you have an infection and you need an antibiotic? Lots of times. Mm-hmm. Did you ever hear the doctor say, now we're going to mess up your digestive bacteria, the good ones, so you need to provide bacteria to replace that?
Never.
You ever hear that one?
Mm-mm.
Never. Never. I had a twisted intestine about 6 years ago, and I'm not stupid. It was twisted. He cut it. There's bacteria escaping. I took antibiotics. And then I took digestive enzymes to replace it. Do you think that surgeon told me to use digestive enzyme to replace it? Not a chance. Not a chance.
So there's probiotics and then there's digestive enzymes, 2 different.
Well, there's a lot of different things. The one I use now mostly is because of my sister. My sister has multiple sclerosis. And a plug for you, mates, is that when she takes 2 a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, her MS is a lot better. But one of the other things about MS is that there is a certain amount of thought that a mineral is missing, and the mineral is yttrium. Maybe I pronounced it wrong. Y-Y-E-T-R-I-U-M, I believe. And there's very few places to find it. So I started buying this product out of a company in Wisconsin that has, it's the only place I know of that you can really find, and you know that yttrium's in it. So again, I did that for my sister because of her MS. Certainly, you got the infant mortality with the rats and everything else, and I was given the high sign by Randy. Well, and again, Jeffrey covered the part about the sheep and the buffalo and the goats dying. He didn't say too much, hardly at all, about all the Indians that are committing suicide because of their relationship with Monsanto. Monsanto convinced them that they should be using these Roundup-ready products. They didn't have enough water, they didn't have this, they didn't have that, and they became, they thought, labeled as bad farmers because they didn't produce enough. Well, the truth of it is, the GMO products do not have, are not increasing the production. So the argument, if you pay me this extra money for my seeds and you buy this chemical from me, then you will make more money because the volume that you produce is up, and that's not true at all. But at any rate, let's see. Well, I ran across something a few months ago that many high-priced horses are either low fertility or sterile. And two researchers from A&M decided that the solution to this was to develop a simple test to tell whether or not the horse was sterile, so they wouldn't waste their time breeding a sterile horse. No mention about mares, certainly nothing about bulls and stuff. The difference with cows, though, is they get eaten earlier than horses ever get destroyed, so it shows up more in horses. But it wasn't, maybe you ought to stop using genetically engineered grain on your horses. And I have horse people in my office all the time, and I tell them that, and some of them think I'm nuts. But I'm really not. But needless to say, I talk a lot to people. One of the problems, again, is that GM can multiply in your body. And I'm not sure if you take all these beneficial bacteria and acidophilus and stuff that you're going to overcome that at all. I've not seen anything on it, let's put it that way.
Excuse me, how long does this GMO stuff stay in your system?
Good question. We think it can reproduce. So then that would mean indefinite.
So there's no real way that we can get it out once it's in there. We're just stuck with it.
Well, listen, I'm counting an awful lot on Randy. Because I take one humate every day.
I do too.
You know, it's kind of, what is it, an apple a day
Keeps the
doctor away? Of course, the punchline is, if you aim it right. now, real quick on the side effects of Equal is fibromyalgia, spasms, shooting pains, numbness in your legs, cramps, vertigo, dizziness, headaches, tetanus, which is the ears, joint pain, unexplained depression, anxiety attacks, slurred speech, blurred vision, memory loss.
That's my neighbor.
That's me.
And at any rate, if anybody wants to know something about Equal and how it makes diabetics worse, there's a doctor by the name of H.R. Roberts, an MD that was a diabetic doctor on the east coast of Florida. You can go look him up on the internet. And the book, I read the book and everything, and he's a super guy. But he was the one that first observed all this stuff going on about 1988, when most of it was put into soft drinks about 1981. And anyway, I've got one quick thing. When I read about, or when I went to the video of Dr. Lustig in California, he said one of the things that really impressed him was an author by the name of John Yudkin. He was a PhD. He was in England. He was testing and checking on what causes obesity and heart disease and stroke and cancer and everything. This man wrote the book in 1972. It's 39 years old, and he predicted all the heart disease and everything they had, and he didn't even know what high fructose corn syrup was. Sugar is as bad as anything you can get. And the interesting thing, I'll never tell my wife, and if any of you tell her, I'll tell you that you lied. That book, I bought John Yudkin's book. I found it on the internet, finally. It's the most expensive book I ever bought. It was a used paperback book, and I paid $197 for it. Because the only other two copies I could find in England, one was 1,500 pounds and the other was 500 pounds. But my point was it was worth it because I was able to read about this and it was really interesting. So GMOs are important. We need to reach that tipping point. But at the same time, for your own health, you need to eliminate sugar and high fructose corn syrup.